Yo, what's up guys, WQ here, and if you want us to be an alpha gamer, guys, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's going to turn you into an alpha gamer. It's going to completely revolutionize your life. It's going to be a great thing. So recently, Kanye West has been in the media a lot lately for being like pro-Trump or something, and a lot of people are really freaking out. And then recently, he actually was on TMZ and he said something really interesting that jumped out at me. He said, Kanye West says 400 years of slavery sounds like a choice. And this is really getting people kind of up in arms, like 100%. This is definitely not an easy topic. And if and Kanye West is anyone else, I think a lot of people would have jumped on him for this more than they already did. So a lot of people jumped on in this, and then we're actually going to watch this interview and see exactly what happened, because it's pretty intense.
You know, it's like so many rappers. You'll look at a video of Snoop Dogg loving Trump, but then he get in the office and now they don't love him. Like, Trump is one of rap's favorite people, right?
But we talk about this, that before he was elected president, people in hip hop, it was an in thing to put Donald Trump in your rhyme somewhere.
And by the way, I am in hip hop, but I'm not just in hip hop.
So I think that's pretty interesting, actually. Where like it seems like people don't like Trump. It's more has to do with, I don't know. I mean, it seems like more an agenda than anything else. Like everybody liked this guy before he got into politics. Now everybody hates the guy, and it's all like personal. Like every person that attacks Trump and criticizes Trump, they claim it's all these personal reasons they don't like him. But it's like, where were you for the past, you know, 2-3 decades? Like, seems like some else is missing here. It seems like more is going on. So yeah, I'm glad that they brought that up, because it's just so painfully obvious, and it's like constantly seeing people attack Trump for nonsense reasons. And I think if you attack someone for nonsense reasons, it's bad. I think it ends up being much worse for you.
Communicate, but I'm not just that. I feel like one thing is people try to minimize me to artists, hip hop, black community. Yeah, I'm always gonna represent that, but I also represent the world. When you hear about slavery for 400 years.
Okay, what Kanye said there, I actually think is really smart, because he's a smart guy. He's clearly a smart guy, and people will say he's egotistical or whatever, but I don't know. He's a smart guy, and he's definitely like a leader figure, and I think it's a good move.
For 400 years, that sounds like a choice.
Okay, I think this is what's great.
You was there for 400 years, and it's all of y'all. You know, like,
he says this, and then they're
like
just silent.
We're
Everyone's just silent.
in prison. I like the word prison because slavery goes too direct to the idea of blacks. It's like slavery.
And Kanye tries to like change the point a little bit that he's trying to make it. This guy's just fucking, I feel so uncomfortable. He's like not having this. Like, what the fuck are you saying, dude? But I actually think Kanye is kind of right in what he said. Specifically, if you look at this, it sounds like my gameplay arguments. It sounds like a lot of my gameplay idiots. Or I'm often saying, like, losing is a choice. Losing is intentional. Choking is intentional. It's actually a positive, intentional aspect of gameplay. That's what choking is. It's not negative. These are the things claims I've made that online, and people like freak out and get really mad at me, and it's like freaking out at me when I make these claims, and I'm like, no, I actually have reasons for these. I don't just make up these claims. I actually have reasons for these. Now, Kanye is saying a very similar thing about a much more political issue, and it's definitely, I'm not super political, and it's definitely something that I don't really want to go near, but what Kanye is saying here is actually a naturalistic perspective on this issue, and that's kind of where my gameplay arguments, where I say choking is it's an intentional thing, but then it's also a good thing. That's because I look at it from a naturalistic perspective, where people do things and then you have to figure out why they did them. It's not that they don't choose to do things and then the things are done and then there's no problems. Like, that's not how human consciousness works. That's not how reality works. We don't know why we do things. People don't know why things happen. Like, religion's another really good argument, where every society is religious. Like, religion is dominant. It's completely dominant. Yet everyone's criticizing it constantly. Everyone's saying it's fake. I mean, obviously it's bogus. Like, these Greek mythology stories, completely bogus. So why did I study it for like 8 years in school growing up? Why? You know, it doesn't really make sense. But it's happening. It's always going to happen. It's going to keep happening. It's the same with slavery, and it's not just a slavery in America. Actually, I mean, look at slavery throughout all of human history. It's happened in virtually every society, right? It's happened most of history, and in the future, I don't think there's going to be direct slavery, but it's functionally the same thing. You're going to see slavery in different means, where people are civil servants. They're going to be slaves through the school system. Like that's never going to go away. That's never going to go away. That's because that's how people think. It's deeply embedded in their DNA. There's nothing we can really do to change that, and it's going to keep happening. And I think Kanye just kind of jumped out and said it. Like, just fucking jumped out and said it, and it's like, yeah, I think he's right. I don't think I'm not going to comment on what he's saying here. I'm going to comment on that's how I perceive gameplay. That's how I perceive gameplay. I think. Why did that guy lose? Why did that guy choke? And you have to go back and figure out why he choked. And then the reality is that he did choke. He keeps choking. There's a reason he's choking. And then it actually starts to make sense why people choke if you look at it. And a lot of it is comes into low self-esteem and unconfident gameplay. You know, a lot of unconfident gameplay is actually rooted in these ego traps that I'm always talking about. Ego traps are what cause this choking, because you create this false image of gameplay, and it's the whole problem with the ego cycle. Why it's actually bad to do the right thing if you don't believe in it. If you do the right thing and you don't believe in it, that's actually bad for gameplay. That actually makes your gameplay worse, because what happens is you end up choking. And if you end up choking, you get a worse result, which means doing the right thing was not the right thing. It means that doing what you believe in is the right thing. Well, how can you do what you believe in? That's what natural gameplay is. That's what ego theory is. That's what this whole gameplay argument is. I keep making. It seems like Kanye. I mean, guy's very rich. He's a very smart person. Seems like he has a similar opinion, at least how I think. And I don't think he meant like these like crazy things, these crazy like racist, Nazi like mentions. A lot of people are saying right now, and I know a lot of people are saying very bad things about him right now. And he had to defend himself. He had to aggressively defend himself. But he's a smart person, and he actually does think naturally. And the problem with not opening your mind up to stuff like this, and it's similar in gameplay, is that you follow this gameplay trap where you actually are perpetuating the issue. You see actually leaders and winners in society, they're actually really good at breaking outside of these problems, where a lot of people who they want you to lose, their primary goal oftentimes is not to defeat you in combat or defeat you. It's to make you feel bad about yourself. And so they go to these extreme efforts to make someone feel bad about themselves. And if you can overcome that, then you can win. And so a lot of society, I've noticed, a lot of like human interactions I've noticed, they actually come down to that. And I thought it was interesting because later in this conversation, how this is resolved interpersonally, Kanye's like, they're freaking out the TMZ thing, and Kanye says something, and then this guy in retaliation, he goes on this speech, and I think this is the actual gameplay problem, that this guy loses this gameplay interaction because he's offended, and once you're offended, you lose the gameplay interaction. And it sounds like he's right. What he's saying is right. He should win. He's supposed to be offended. If somebody says something wrong to you, you should be offended, right? It's a wrong statement. It's actually worse in gameplay, and Kanye knows this very well, and you can see what happens after this guy says this speech that's technically right, or is probably right. What happens? You can see what Kanye does, and he actually wins the gameplay interaction.
Brother, I am unbelievably hurt by the fact that you have morphed into something, to me, that's not real. Bro, you gotta be responsible, man.
Bro, I'm sorry I hurt you.
You gotta be responsible.
See how Kanye said there, I'm sorry I hurt you? This guy is actually the victim here. So Kanye's the winner. And so in a very tribal sense, who's the leader of this circumstance, right? Who's the leader of the situation? It's not this guy, it's actually Kanye. Kanye is the winner here, and so people are actually going to look up to Kanye more. Kanye knows that very well, and he's been doing that his whole life. That's why he's in this position he's in. And it just played out again. And this is why when you become a victim, it's very bad. And this is why this guy actually lost this situation when he started speaking the truth. Even if it was the truth, he actually lost this situation. And gameplay is a very weird way of becoming truthful through action over a very long period of time if you have the right gameplay.
I'm sorry I hurt you, bro.
Your voice is too big. You got.
Isn't that crazy? I think it's really crazy. So, yeah, it's definitely a really heated topic. So I think one of the biggest supporting arguments of naturalism and natural gameplay is that's how evolution works. That's how Darwin figured out, hey, wait a minute, natural selection's the thing. That's how This is how evolution works. So I'm actually arguing that that's how everything works, and that's what natural gameplay functionally is. It's actually a reconstruction of how gameplay interactions, which is just reality, how gameplay interactions work. They actually work naturally, and you can figure out and go back and then figure out what to do, the right thing to do through gameplay interactions using ego theory, and more functionally just reality results, what's happening, what's not happening, what works and what doesn't work. And this whole interaction has probably happened so many times in history with so many different topics. Like, this is one topic. This has happened so many times in history with so many different topics, and the whole thing, it was very procedural. And I would actually say Kanye is potentially saying this in order to win the situation, because that's what happened. That's what he did at the end of the situation. He actually won the interaction. Maybe that's why he said the thing in the first place, right? Because we know that he said it, but we don't know why he said it, and we don't know. And so, I mean, I would even go argue, say, like if we translate this into a gameplay interaction, I would even argue, for example, like I've been in second place in Link to the Past for 4 years, I think. Since 2015, I've been in second place. And so, it's almost 3 years. It's actually about 2.5 years. Yeah, if you discount Crystal, it's been 3 years. But if you count Crystal, it's been about 2.5. So I've been in second place for 2.5 years in Link to the Past. So for me, a lot of that would actually be purposeful. Naturally, if you look at that naturally, it's actually purposeful that I was in second place in Link to the Past. Because what happens is when I get the event record, if or when I eventually get the record, I could use that to my advantage. And so naturally, if you naturally think or you look at stuff naturally, there's a lot more going on. It's really interesting. I thought it was very interesting. I'm not gonna say what Kanye West is saying is right or wrong. You know, that's not really up to me, guys. You know, make your own opinions on that. Go to town on that way you want. I am gonna say that this gameplay interaction happens a lot, very frequently, through a variety of topics, and it's very interesting. And Kanye clearly understands naturally thinking. He clearly understands the world naturally, and I think that this definitely got a lot more interesting. This whole Kanye West thing got a lot more interesting. And I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. You become an alpha gamer. You learn the secrets of natural gameplay. You learn the secrets of gameplay. Learn the secrets of understanding the world through a natural perspective, which actually is going to completely elevate and upgrade your gameplay. And then you're going to start creating natural solutions to things which actually solve problems in real time. I'll see you guys later. Make sure you get out of their game.